You know that feeling when you've been hitting the gym, trying to get your body to look the way you want it, but despite all the sweat, the hours spent lifting weights or running, the results just aren't there? We've all been there, right? You bust your tail every week, and it feels like you're stuck in a loop where muscle growth seems elusive, and the fat just doesn't want to budge. Maybe you've tried different workout routines, different diets, you've bought into the latest trends, but still, that magic combination of muscle gain and fat loss feels out of reach. Well, what if I told you there's a way to actually build muscle and burn fat at the same time? Yes, I said it, at the same time. And no, it's not about some magic pill, a crazy diet plan, or extreme workout that leaves you on the floor gasping for air. It's actually rooted in science. What I want to talk about today isn't a quick fix, but a smart fix, one that's grounded in solid research, proven strategies, and understanding how our bodies work at the deepest level. Now, I know that might sound like a tall order, but I promise you it's not as complicated as it seems. The idea of burning fat while building muscle might feel like something out of a fitness magazine, or like a goal that's just out of reach, but I'm here to tell you it's possible, and more importantly, it's achievable when you know the right steps to take. I want you to picture this for a second. You walk into the gym, and instead of feeling like you're constantly chasing one goal at the expense of the other, imagine having a plan that synchronizes muscle building with fat burning. Picture yourself actually seeing progress on both fronts. You get stronger, leaner, more toned, and those results start showing up much faster than they would on the traditional, one-at-a-time approach most people stick to. What if you could walk into your workout with confidence, knowing that you have a method that works, and works fast? Here's the thing, it's not about doing more, or harder, or longer. In fact, it's not about the time you spend working out at all. It's about making smarter choices, choosing the right movements, eating the right foods, and recovery. If you can understand how your body works and how to fuel it properly, you'll be able to build muscle while also shedding fat, without having to choose between the two. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but when you do this the right way, you get results that are sustainable, not just temporary. You've probably heard people say things like, it's all about calories in, calories out, or you have to pick one, either build muscle or lose fat. We hear it all the time from personal trainers, fitness experts, and yes, even people who are just trying to sell us their latest workout programs. But let me ask you, how many times have you tried that approach, only to find yourself stuck in a loop, either gaining a little muscle but still carrying around extra fat, or losing fat but feeling weaker and losing muscle mass in the process? It's a frustrating cycle. But here's where I want to flip the script for you. The truth is, you don't have to pick one or the other. Building muscle and burning fat can go hand in hand. And it doesn't have to be the struggle we've all made it out to be. It's about leveraging science, understanding how your body burns fat, how it builds muscle, and how you can work with both of those processes at the same time. In fact, there are methods backed by research that show you can do both, and I'm going to take you through exactly how to make that happen. Now, when I say backed by research, I'm not talking about some new trendy diet or workout that's just been slapped together. I'm talking about real science, the kind that's been studied in the lab, tested on real people, and proven to work. These are principles that top athletes, trainers, and bodybuilders use to get those results we all wish we could replicate. But here's the kicker. They're not keeping these methods a secret. Take a moment to think about your past fitness journey. How often have you relied on tips that, looking back, were probably outdated, or maybe even counterproductive? Did you ever fall for the idea that you had to cut carbs completely to burn fat, or that you needed to eat super high protein diets to build muscle? No exceptions? These are the types of misconceptions that hold us back from getting the results we truly want. But now, you're going to hear a different approach, one that cuts through the noise and focuses on what really works. What we're going to explore today is a strategy, a clear and actionable one, that combines strength training, high-intensity intervals, and nutrition in a way that allows your body to work with itself, not against itself. We're going to talk about how your muscles, your metabolism, and your hormones can all work in harmony to give you the best of both worlds, muscle gain and fat loss simultaneously. And here's the best part. This isn't a hard and fast rule that you have to follow to the letter. What you'll find in today's episode are principles that you can personalize. You can adapt these methods to fit your lifestyle, your preferences, and your goals, so that building muscle and burning fat isn't some far-off dream. It's something that you can start making real progress on today. So let's take this slow and steady. I'm going to break it down for you in a way that's easy to understand and put into action. By the end of this episode, you'll have everything you need to start applying the fastest way to build muscle and burn fat, without resorting to quick fixes or unnecessary sacrifices. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the strategies, I want you to do me a favor. Forget about everything you thought you knew about fitness, fat loss, and muscle building. Forget the endless cycles of trying fad diets, getting frustrated at the gym, and thinking you're stuck. Open your mind to the possibility that there's a smarter way to reach your goals, a way that's supported by science and designed to give you lasting results. You ready? Let's dive in. This is going to be good. All right, now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the heart of this. How do we actually build muscle while burning fat at the same time? And why is it possible to do both? If you've ever wondered why people seem to be stuck in this constant cycle of bulking and cutting, putting on muscle, then slimming down to reveal it, you might have been led to believe that muscle building and fat loss are two separate goals that require their own unique processes. We've been told for years that if you want to bulk up, you have to eat a surplus of calories, usually from carbs and fat, so your body has the fuel to grow. But if you want to burn fat, you need to cut down on calories and either do tons of cardio or stick to a super strict diet. And yeah, sure, on paper, that makes sense. But here's the catch. This doesn't mean you can't do both at the same time. So, how do you reconcile these two goals? How do we make muscle gain and fat loss come together in a way that feels both natural and, more importantly, sustainable? The good news is, it's all about understanding the science of how our bodies work and how we can use that to our advantage. Let's start with muscle building. When you step into the gym, lift weights, or do anything that's going to stress your muscles, you're basically signaling to your body, hey, I need to get stronger, I need to adapt. But here's the interesting part. Your muscles don't grow the moment you lift the weights. That's not how it works. Instead, what happens is that lifting weights, or any form of strength training, causes tiny little tears in your muscle fibers. These are micro tears, and they're a normal part of the process. When you rest and recover, your body repairs those micro tears. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just repair them. It makes them a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger. This process is called muscle hypertrophy. You're probably familiar with the phrase, no pain, no gain, but it's not the pain of lifting the weights that's actually causing the growth. It's the repair process after that's crucial. Your body rebuilds muscle fibers stronger than before, as long as you give it the right conditions to do so. Now, the key to this is progressive overload, meaning you're constantly challenging your muscles by gradually increasing the weight, the reps, or the intensity of your training. This ensures that your body never gets complacent and is always working to adapt and grow stronger. Now, let's tie this into fat loss. If you want to burn fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit, meaning you need to burn more calories than you're consuming. But here's where things get tricky for a lot of people. If you're in too big of a deficit, your body doesn't just burn fat, it might also start burning muscle. That's something you don't want. But if you're in a small enough deficit, your body will prioritize burning fat for energy while still preserving muscle. The trick is, you want to maximize fat loss while minimizing muscle loss. And that's where your training style comes into play. You might be thinking, but how do I build muscle if I'm not eating in a surplus? And that's a fair question. Here's the thing, while a calorie surplus certainly helps muscle growth, it's not the only factor. Your body is a lot more adaptable than we sometimes give it credit for. If you're lifting heavy weights regularly and providing your muscles with the right nutrients, like protein for example, you can still build muscle even in a calorie deficit, though it will take a bit longer than if you were eating in a surplus. This is the core of body recomposition, the process of gaining muscle while losing fat. It's like a juggling act, but with the right strategies, you can keep both balls in the air without letting one drop. So here's the secret sauce. Your body is constantly working to balance energy needs. When you create a small calorie deficit, say 10 to 20% below your maintenance, you allow your body to tap into fat stores for energy. But if you're lifting weights and consuming enough protein, your body will prioritize muscle retention over muscle loss. The reason you don't see some people lose muscle when they're in a deficit is because their training and nutrition are optimized for fat loss while maintaining lean mass. This is why combining strength training with a small calorie deficit works so well for muscle building and fat loss. Let me give you a real-world example. Think about someone training for a physique competition, let's say a bodybuilder or a figure athlete. These athletes have to get extremely lean while still maintaining as much muscle mass as possible. They go through cycles of cutting fat and then bulking up, but during the cutting phase, they don't just go into starvation mode. They use strength training, keep their protein intake high, and make sure they're still lifting heavy. They'll also likely add in some form of cardio, like high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, to help accelerate fat loss while making sure they don't sacrifice their hard-earned muscle. And the cool thing is, this process doesn't just apply to bodybuilders or athletes. You can use these principles too. By focusing on strength training while being in a small calorie deficit and ensuring you're getting the right amount of protein and recovery, you can achieve similar results, burning fat and building muscle without having to choose between the two. Now, let's take a moment to think about how cardio fits into the equation. Cardio has long been seen as the go-to solution for fat loss. We've all heard the phrase, cardio burns fat, and there's truth to that. But here's the thing. If your goal is to maximize muscle growth while burning fat, traditional steady-state cardio, like jogging for an hour on the treadmill, might not be your best option. Instead, high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is a much more efficient way to burn fat while preserving muscle. The reason is simple. HIIT keeps your metabolism elevated long after your workout. In fact, studies have shown that the fat-burning effects of HIIT can last for up to 24 hours after a session. That's the magic of EPOC, or excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. It's a fancy term for your body continuing to burn calories even when you're not actively working out. But here's something to think about. If you're doing HIIT and lifting weights, you're not just burning fat, you're also improving your cardiovascular health, building muscle, and making your body more efficient at burning energy. It's a triple threat. Take Sarah, for instance. She's someone who's always been frustrated by the whole build muscle or lose fat dilemma. She'd get on a treadmill for an hour, then spend another hour lifting weights, but she didn't see the muscle tone or fat loss she wanted, so she switched things up. She focused on compound movements like squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups to build strength, and paired those with HIIT sessions, just 20 minutes, 3 times a week. She started seeing noticeable changes in her body composition within weeks. Why? Because she found a balance between lifting heavy and doing high-intensity cardio, all while keeping her nutrition dialed in. She wasn't starving herself, but she was eating at a small calorie deficit, prioritizing protein, and focusing on recovery. The result? She was able to burn fat, keep her muscle, and in some cases, even build muscle during the process. But this isn't just about exercise. Nutrition plays a huge role in this process too. When you're aiming to burn fat and build muscle at the same time, what you put into your body matters. You've probably heard people talk about the importance of protein, and for good reason. It's the building block of muscle. Your body can't build muscle without protein, plain and simple. But here's the interesting part. The timing of your protein can also make a difference. Consuming protein-rich meals spread throughout the day, rather than just loading up on protein at dinner, keeps your muscles constantly supplied with the building blocks they need to grow. It's all about creating an anabolic environment, one that promotes muscle growth, while still being in a mild calorie deficit to ensure fat burning. So, if you've ever thought, I'll never be able to burn fat and gain muscle, or it's just not possible for me to do both, I want you to toss that mindset out the window. With the right approach, it's completely achievable, and the science backs it up. It's not about sacrificing one for the other. It's about being smart with your workouts, your nutrition, and your recovery. With the right strategy, you can see muscle gains and fat loss happening together, and it's going to be sustainable. You won't need to constantly be flipping between bulking and cutting. Your body can be in the process of recomposition all year round if you know how to optimize your training and nutrition. All right, now I want you to pause and really think about this. Have you been caught up in the mindset that you need to sacrifice one goal for the other? Or have you been frustrated, feeling like you're putting in the work and not seeing the results? What if the key to burning fat and building muscle is less about extreme dieting and more about optimizing your training and nutrition to work together? Imagine how much more efficient your workouts could be. Think about how much better your body would feel, how much more energized you'd be, and how much closer you'd be to your goals, whether that's getting leaner, stronger, or both. This is how body recomposition works, and the sooner you embrace it, the faster you'll see those results. Now, let's keep this momentum going. We've covered the basics, but there's a lot more to dive into, and I can't wait to take you deeper into how you can apply all of this in your own routine. So, let's move on to some actionable strategies that you can start using right now to put all this science into motion. Stay tuned. This is just the beginning. Now that we've set the foundation for understanding how muscle building and fat loss can work hand in hand, it's time to dive into the strategies that will make all of this come to life for you. Because at the end of the day, understanding the science is one thing, but making that science work in the real world is where the magic happens. So, let's get into the practical side of things. How do you apply all this knowledge to your daily routine, your workout program, and your eating habits to make sure you're getting the best of both worlds? First things first, it's about structuring your workouts in a way that allows you to focus on strength training and HIIT while still maintaining a small calorie deficit. It's not about training harder for longer. It's about training smarter and more efficiently. Let's think about this for a second. We've all seen those people who are in the gym for hours on end, pushing weights around and barely breaking a sweat, thinking that sheer time spent equals results. But the truth is, time spent in the gym doesn't necessarily translate to results. It's all about intensity. You want to be smart with how you're spending your time. Sure, there are people who can do hour-long steady-state cardio sessions or long, drawn-out workouts and make some progress. But when you think about building muscle and burning fat together, time efficiency becomes key. That's why I'm such a fan of combining strength training with high-intensity interval training, HIIT. Strength training is the bedrock of muscle building, and HIIT is one of the most efficient ways to burn fat while still allowing your body to maintain muscle mass. The reason these two work so well together is that strength training builds that muscle and boosts your metabolism, while HIIT burns fat and keeps your metabolism elevated even after you've finished working out. This combination maximizes your calorie burn while preserving muscle and reducing fat. But let's take a closer look at strength training. It's not about doing 1,000,000 reps of bicep curls and thinking you're going to get a chiseled physique. If you want to build muscle while keeping fat loss on track, it's all about compound movements. Think of exercises that work multiple muscle groups at once, like squats, deadlifts, rows, and bench presses. These exercises recruit large muscle groups, which means they burn more calories and stimulate muscle growth across your entire body. When you perform compound lifts, you're increasing the intensity of your workout, which results in more muscle engagement, more calorie burning, and ultimately more fat loss. A good example here is the classic deadlift. When you deadlift, you're not just working your back, you're engaging your hamstrings, your glutes, your core, and even your forearms. This is a full body movement. And the beauty of full body exercises like this is that they don't just target one area. They create a demand for your body to expend more energy, which in turn leads to more fat burning. You might only need 3 to 4 solid sets of a compound movement to really challenge your muscles, and you'll get the same, if not better, results as someone who spends hours on isolation exercises. Here's a story I want to share with you. A few years back, I worked with a guy named Dan. He was a dedicated gym goer, but like many people, he'd fallen into the trap of doing a bunch of isolation exercises. Triceps push-downs, bicep curls, leg extensions. He was working hard, but not seeing the muscle growth or fat loss he wanted. So, we switched up his routine. I had him focus more on deadlifts, squats, overhead presses, and pull-ups. Basic, full-body exercises. I didn't tell him to do more sets or more reps. Instead, I had him add weight gradually each week. Within just a few weeks, Dan's body started changing. He was stronger, leaner, and more defined. The reason? We were giving his body the intensity it needed to make those adaptations, while also keeping his fat burning at a high rate. But you don't have to be lifting heavy weights all the time to see progress. The key is progressive overload, increasing the resistance, reps, or intensity of your workout over time. This doesn't mean you have to be in the gym for hours either. In fact, short intense sessions of strength training, like 30 to 45 minutes, can be incredibly effective. The goal is not to overwhelm your muscles, but to progressively challenge them so they grow over time. Now, let's talk about HIIT, because this is really where the magic happens for fat loss. If you're still doing steady-state cardio for long periods, I want to encourage you to consider switching things up. HIIT has been shown time and time again to burn more fat in less time compared to traditional cardio. Why? because it boosts your metabolism far beyond the duration of the workout itself. This phenomenon is called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, EPOC. Basically, your body continues to burn calories at an elevated rate even after you finish your workout. Let me paint a picture here. Imagine this. You do 20 minutes of HIIT training. That could be sprints on a treadmill, cycling intervals, or even body weight exercises like burpees, mountain climbers, and jumping jacks. You're pushing hard for 20 seconds, then resting for 10 seconds. That's intense, right? Now, in those 20 minutes, you might burn, let's say, 200 to 300 calories. But the cool part is, your body is still burning calories for hours after the workout. Compare that to an hour of steady-state jogging, which might burn about 400 calories during the session. But once you stop, the calorie burn doesn't continue at the same elevated rate. So, why does HIIT work so well for fat loss? It has everything to do with intensity. You're pushing your body to its limits for a short period, forcing it to tap into its fat stores for fuel. And then you get the added benefit of EPOC, where your metabolism stays elevated long after you've finished. This means you're still burning fat, even when you're sitting on the couch. Pretty cool, right? Let's go back to Dan for a second. When we added HIIT into his routine, we didn't replace his strength training. Instead, we added 2 or 3 HIIT sessions per week, each lasting around 20 minutes. We kept it short and intense. And man, did he see a difference. His body fat dropped significantly over the course of a few months, even though we weren't cutting calories drastically. His metabolism was revved up, and his body was in fat-burning mode all day, every day. Here's where it gets interesting. If you pair HIIT with strength training, you get the best of both worlds. HIIT keeps your fat burning at high levels, while strength training builds and preserves muscle. But the trick is to find that sweet spot. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right amount. Don't overdo it on either side. Too much cardio can rob you of muscle, while too much strength training with a poor diet can leave you with minimal fat loss. You need balance. Now, let's talk about nutrition, because as we all know, you can't outtrain a bad diet. I want to address the biggest misconception right away. You don't have to go on some extreme diet to burn fat and build muscle. It's not about eliminating entire food groups or following the latest fad. Instead, it's about making smart choices that support your goals, and that's where the real work happens. First, let's talk about protein. Protein is the building block of muscle. Without enough of it, your muscles won't recover properly, and you won't see the gains you're working for. But protein does more than just help your muscles grow. It also helps with fat loss by increasing your metabolism. Your body burns more calories digesting protein than it does digesting fats or carbs. So it's a double whammy. Protein helps build muscle and aids in fat loss. But it's not just about eating more protein. It's about timing it right. You don't have to stuff your face with protein every 2 hours, but having a steady supply of protein throughout the day helps keep your body in a muscle-building state. So aim for protein-rich meals spread out every 3 to 4 hours. If you're lifting weights in the morning, try to have a good protein-packed meal afterward. Your body needs that fuel to repair and grow. Next up, we've got carbs. I know, carbs often get a bad rap. But here's the truth. Carbs aren't the enemy. In fact, if you're lifting weights or doing HIIT, you need carbs for energy. Carbs are your body's preferred fuel for intense workouts. They help replenish glycogen stores, which is your body's quick energy source. When you're in a calorie deficit, you want to be careful with carbs. Don't overeat them, but don't cut them out completely. Instead, focus on whole, unprocessed carbs, like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These will give you steady energy and help fuel your workouts without spiking your insulin. And then there's fats. Healthy fats, like those from avocados, olive oil, nuts, and seeds, play a crucial role in hormone regulation. If you're cutting fat too drastically, your body might not produce enough of the hormones needed for muscle growth and fat loss. So don't fear the fats, just make sure they come from healthy sources. You don't need a ton of fat, but a little goes a long way when it comes to balancing your hormones and keeping your metabolism running smoothly. Now, I know this can feel like a lot to take in, but here's the thing. If you want to truly burn fat and build muscle, it's all about balance. It's not about extreme cuts or ridiculous workout schedules. It's about using the right strategies, training smart, eating strategically, and giving your body time to rest and recover. And this brings me to the most important point: recovery. You've been working hard, strength training, HIIT, getting your diet dialed in. But here's the secret that a lot of people overlook. Recovery is just as important as the workouts themselves. Without proper recovery, your body won't have the chance to rebuild and grow stronger. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, managing stress, and giving your muscles time to repair. Remember, you're in this for the long haul. There's no magic pill. There's no one-size-fits-all shortcut. But if you train smart, eat right, and give your body the time and space it needs to recover, you'll start to see changes. Real changes. It might take a few weeks or even a couple of months, but the results will come. And the best part is, when you're doing it the right way, those results will last. So, I want to leave you with this thought. Are you ready to stop chasing the quick fixes and start embracing the smart, science-backed approach that actually works? Because when you combine the right strategies with your commitment and consistency, So we've talked about the importance of exercise, nutrition, and getting your body into that perfect balance between building muscle and burning fat. But here's the truth that many people tend to overlook. All the hard work you put in at the gym, all the carefully crafted meals, all the focus on cutting down your calorie intake, it all means very little if you're not giving your body the time and space it needs to recover. I know it sounds almost counterintuitive. You work hard to break down your muscles, push yourself to new limits, challenge your body day after day. But the actual magic doesn't happen when you're lifting weights or sprinting on the treadmill. It happens when you're resting. It happens while you're sleeping. Let that sink in for a moment. You can spend hours in the gym, lifting, running, or doing whatever workout you've decided will get you to your goals. But if you're not getting enough recovery, if you're not letting your body heal and repair, all that effort could very well be wasted. You might not see the results you're working so hard for. And this isn't just a matter of feeling sore after a workout. This is a fundamental aspect of muscle growth and fat loss. Recovery, especially sleep, plays a pivotal role in this entire process. I know we've all heard that sleep is important for recovery. It's one of those things we know we should be getting, but many of us often push it to the side because life gets in the way. We stay up late to work, we scroll through our phones until our eyes are half shut, or we simply just don't prioritize it because we think we can get away with it for a while. But I can't stress enough, when it comes to building muscle and burning fat, sleep is non-negotiable. In fact, sleep is one of the most powerful tools you have to speed up the entire process. So, let's talk about why sleep is so important and how you can use it to your advantage to maximize your results. First off, let's break down what happens when you sleep. This isn't just about resting your eyes. When you sleep, your body is doing some seriously important work behind the scenes. You know how when you work out, you create small tears in your muscles? Well, it's during deep sleep that your body gets to work on repairing those tears. This process of muscle repair is crucial for building muscle. And here's the kicker. It's not just about the physical repairs. Your body is also releasing growth hormone, which is a huge player in muscle development. Growth hormone helps promote tissue growth, repair muscle fibers, and also helps burn fat. Without enough quality sleep, your body can't do this properly. You might have heard of sleep cycles, and if you've ever had a great night's sleep, you've probably experienced them without even realizing it. Sleep is divided into different stages, each serving its own purpose. The most important stages for muscle recovery are deep sleep and REM sleep. During deep sleep, your body goes into repair mode. That's when your muscles rebuild and grow, your cells regenerate, your immune system gets a boost, and your body is using energy from fat stores to fuel those repairs. When you're in REM sleep, that's when the brain consolidates memories, processes information, and, importantly, regulates hormones. You've probably noticed that if you don't get enough sleep, you're more likely to feel moody or sluggish the next day. That's because your body is still trying to balance things out. And without enough sleep, your hormones get all out of whack. And when your hormones are off balance, especially the hormones that control hunger, stress, and muscle recovery, your fat burning and muscle building processes can get derailed. I can already hear some of you asking, okay, so if sleep is so important, how much do I actually need? Well, let me tell you, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer, but here's what the research generally says. Most adults need somewhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, that's the sweet spot for most people, but there are some variations depending on your age, lifestyle, and how active you are. If you're training hard, pushing yourself in the gym, or doing HIIT, You might need a bit more sleep to recover properly. I know, life can be hectic, and getting 8 hours of sleep might feel like an impossible dream. But if you're serious about building muscle and burning fat, making sleep a priority is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Here's the thing. When you're not getting enough sleep, it's not just that you feel tired the next day. It actually affects your metabolism, your ability to burn fat, and your muscle recovery. Think about it. If you're sleep deprived, your body produces more of the hormone cortisol, which is a stress hormone. High cortisol levels can break down muscle tissue and make fat loss more difficult. Not to mention, when you're tired, your body craves quick energy, usually in the form of sugary or high-calorie foods. So, if you're not getting quality sleep, you're fighting an uphill battle because you're more likely to make poor food choices and feel less motivated to work out. It's a vicious cycle. Now I know many of you are probably thinking, but I have a lot to do. I'm busy. I don't have time for 8 hours of sleep. I get it, trust me. The hustle culture is real. But what if I told you that getting more sleep could actually make you more productive, help you get more out of your workouts, and even boost your fat loss efforts? Think about it. If you're well rested, you're going to feel more energized, your focus will be sharper, and you'll have the energy to give your workouts 110%. You're not going to waste time dragging yourself through a workout because you didn't sleep the night before. That's why prioritizing sleep is an investment in your fitness and, frankly, in your life. So let's talk about how to improve your sleep quality. It's not just about lying down for 7 hours and hoping for the best. There are strategies that can help you get the deepest, most restorative sleep possible. The first step is to make sure you have a consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, helps regulate your body's internal clock. I know it can be tempting to stay up late and sleep in on weekends, but doing so can disrupt your sleep cycle and make it harder for you to fall asleep during the week. Next, let's talk about sleep environment. It's amazing how something as simple as your bedroom can have a huge impact on how well you sleep. You want your bedroom to be a peaceful, quiet place. Keep it cool, as your body sleeps best in a cooler environment. Aim for a temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Turn off all electronics at least an hour before bed, as the blue light from phones, computers, and TVs can interfere with your body's production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. And I get it, some of you may want to watch a show before bed or scroll through Instagram for a bit. But trust me, if you start prioritizing sleep over late night screen time, you'll feel so much better the next day. Then there's sleep hygiene, which might sound like a fancy term, but it's really just a set of habits that promote better sleep. A big one is avoiding caffeine too late in the day. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, meaning that if you have a cup of coffee in the afternoon, it could still be keeping you up at night. So try to limit caffeine intake to the morning hours if you can. Another important aspect of sleep hygiene is winding down before bed. This is where things like reading a book, taking a warm bath, or doing some light stretching can come into play. Your body and mind need time to shift into sleep mode, and the more you can create a calming ritual before bed, the easier it will be for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. And finally, don't underestimate the power of napping. Now, I know a lot of people say naps are for the lazy, but that couldn't be further from the truth. A 20 to 30 minute nap in the afternoon can actually enhance cognitive function, help with muscle recovery, and give you a much needed boost in energy. Just make sure it's not too long or too late in the day, as that could interfere with your nighttime sleep. The bottom line is, when you're prioritizing sleep and recovery, you're not just letting your body rest, you're actually making gains. Recovery isn't about taking it easy or giving yourself an excuse to slack off. It's about giving your body the time it needs to rebuild and come back stronger. So the next time you're tempted to cut back on sleep or skip that extra hour of rest because you're too busy, ask yourself, is this really helping me reach my goals? Because without proper recovery, all that hard work you're putting in at the gym is like a house built on sand. The foundation is crucial, and sleep is the cornerstone of that foundation. So here's your call to action. If you're serious about building muscle and burning fat, start by putting recovery first. Set a sleep schedule, optimize your sleep environment, and give your body the time it needs to repair and grow. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. And remember, this journey isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Give yourself permission to rest and recover, and watch as your body transforms in ways you never imagined. We've come a long way together, haven't we? From the first moment we dove into the science of muscle building and fat loss, to understanding the delicate balance of training, nutrition, and recovery, to discovering how sleep and recovery play such a crucial role in it all. You've been through the journey with me, and if you've been paying attention, I'm sure you've started to see just how powerful this information can be when you apply it. But here's the real question. What now? What are you going to do with everything you've learned? See, it's one thing to hear about the science behind muscle growth and fat loss. It's another thing entirely to take that knowledge and transform it into real, tangible results in your life. The difference between knowing something and living it is action. And the fact that you've stuck with me through this entire journey shows that you're ready to take action. The question is, are you willing to put in the work? Because as we talked about today, none of this will work unless you're committed to making it happen. This isn't about trying a new diet for a few weeks and then calling it quits when you don't see immediate results. This is about setting yourself up for success, staying consistent, and being patient with the process. And trust me, it's worth it. You don't need a magic pill or some quick fix fad diet to achieve the results you're after. What you need is the right mindset and a solid plan that you're committed to following. A plan that's based on real science, not the latest trends or the most popular shortcuts. This is about taking control of your body and using the tools and knowledge available to you to build muscle, burn fat, and feel amazing in your own skin. So, let's recap what we've learned. We've broken down the importance of strength training and why it's the foundation of any successful fitness journey. You can't build muscle and burn fat if you're not lifting weights, period. Compound movements like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and rows are key to boosting your metabolism and building muscle efficiently. And just as important, we've seen how combining strength training with HIIT allows you to not only burn fat during the workout, but also keeps your metabolism elevated long after you're done. That's the magic of HIIT. Short, intense bursts of effort that turn your body into a fat-burning machine, even while you're resting. We've also explored the critical role of nutrition in this equation. Without proper nutrition, no amount of exercise will get you the results you want. But it's not about extreme calorie cutting or restrictive diets. It's about making smart choices, focusing on whole, nutrient-dense foods that support muscle growth and fat loss. Protein is your friend. It helps you recover, rebuild, and burn fat. Carbs provide the energy you need to power through your workouts, and healthy fats support your hormones and keep everything functioning optimally. And if you want to supercharge this process, make sure your diet is in line with your workouts. Don't just eat to eat. Eat to fuel your body for the gains you want to make. But let's not forget about the most crucial component of all of this: recovery. We've all been there, the temptation to push harder, go longer, or keep grinding when our bodies are telling us to rest. But I want you to understand this. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. Recovery is where the magic happens. It's where your muscles repair and grow, and it's where your body starts burning fat more efficiently. And that all comes down to getting enough quality sleep. I know you've probably heard that sleep is important for recovery, but if you really take it to heart, you'll see the profound impact it can have on your muscle building and fat burning efforts. So, tonight or tomorrow, make it a point to prioritize sleep. Set that sleep schedule, create a relaxing bedtime routine, and give your body the rest it deserves. Because at the end of the day, no amount of training or dieting can make up for lack of sleep. The good news is, you have all the tools you need to succeed. You have the knowledge, you have the science, and most importantly, you have the power to transform your body and your life. All that's left is to start taking action. And trust me, you don't have to be perfect to start. You don't have to have everything figured out from the get-go. It's not about making big, overwhelming changes all at once. It's about making consistent, incremental improvements. Take it one day at a time, and you'll start to see those small changes add up. But here's the thing, this journey isn't easy. It's not always going to be fun. And there will be days when you feel like giving up. Maybe you're not seeing the results you want as quickly as you'd hoped. Maybe life gets in the way, and you find yourself making excuses. But here's where you have a choice. You can choose to keep pushing forward, even when it's hard. You can choose to be patient with yourself, knowing that the effort you put in today will pay off down the road. Consistency is the secret ingredient. That's what will separate you from everyone else who's just jumping from one quick fix to the next. The people who succeed are the ones who stay the course, who commit to the process, and who keep showing up, even when it's tough. And I know you're capable of that. Before we wrap this up, I want to challenge you. What's one thing you're going to change today? What's one action you're going to take that will push you closer to your goals? Maybe it's committing to a more consistent sleep schedule. Maybe it's starting your strength training routine. Or maybe it's dialing in your nutrition and making sure you're eating the right foods to fuel your body. Whatever it is, take action. Start small, but start today. Your future self will thank you for it. And hey, I want to hear from you. I want to know how this podcast has impacted you. What changes are you making? What results are you seeing? I want to be part of your journey, and I want to cheer you on as you reach those milestones. So don't just listen to this and move on. Engage with me, share your progress, and let's build a community of people who are all about working smarter, not harder, and getting results that last. Remember, it's not about the quick fixes. It's not about the shortcuts. It's about the long-term commitment to yourself, to your health, and to your fitness. Keep pushing, keep learning, and keep growing. I'll be here every step of the way to guide you. Now, go out there and start making it happen. You've got this. And as always, I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit. You deserve it.